China is not our friend. I know that in Europe, a lot of us have positive feelings towards China, and I'm one of the persons, right? I used to study Chinese. I've been there several times, and I'm actually a big fan of Chinese culture. But if we look reality into the face, we have to accept that China is not friendly towards us. If you look at the situation that's evolving right now, which is China is restricting the export of rare earth minerals to Europe. If they have a beef with the United States, let them have their beef. But we don't have any beef with them, right? But yet still they deprive us of the natural minerals that we need. Imagine we would do that to somebody. They would be up in arms, but it seems to be totally fine for them to just deprive our industry of these critical minerals. Think about the fact that there are more and more reports, for example, in the New York Times recently, that China is systematically sending out spies to Silicon Valley, to the West, to steal technologies. Everybody that's glazing Chinese technology, yes, they are actually developing cool stuff. I'm not doubting that, but let's also be fair and truly assess that at least half of their technology that they have right now was stolen mainly from the United States and from Germany, right? It's the Chinese interns that then copy everything to USB drives in the past. It's what we're hearing of right now, that Chinese female agents, similar to what the KGB used to do in the Cold War, are being sent out to the West to marry, start relationships with tech executives, and you can see this pretty much everywhere, to then steal the technology, steal the data, influence them over time, right? And it's also the fact that the German foreign minister, who was supposed to go to Beijing these days, has actually canceled his trip. Why? Because nobody really wants to talk to him. And, you could get upset about that in the long term. That doesn't really matter. But I want to point out one thing, is that when China was weak, Europe was actually treating it quite well, right? For all the criticism here in Africa and Asia about Europe, actually, let's be fair and look at how we treated China when they were weak. Yes, we tried to make business with them, right? We profited from their growth, no doubt about it, but that's also part of good relationships. It's good economic relationships. But we gave them a lot of development aid, we trained a lot of their people, and we helped them. And we're still quite nice and open and friendly to them, despite the fact that they're actually allowing Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine to take place, right? Without their help, without their technology exports, without their technical support for the drone manufacturing and so on, Russia would have had to stop this war a long time ago. So despite all the facts that we've been very nice to them, that we're still trying to give diplomacy the first go, right? We're still trying to talk. They just give us the cold shoulder. They don't even pick up the phone. They don't even talk to us anymore. And so I think as Europeans, we really need to accept the reality. They have shown us their true colors. We can see their real faces now. We could have just asked their neighbors, right? Because their neighbors have been seeing this and telling us about this for a long time. And in a way that resembles the situations with East Europeans warning us of Russian aggression, right? And a lot of us in Central Europe, me included, and Western Europe didn't take that seriously. But China's neighbors have been telling us for a long time. And again, we didn't listen, right? We knew better. And I think it's time to really recognize the fact that the Chinese are not our friends. We shouldn't be using their software. We shouldn't be buying their hardware. And of course, we cannot boycott them completely, but we should be as independent as possible. We should emancipate Europe, not go to the United States because they're not good for us either. We should really have an emancipation of Europe, be independent of them, and not see them as our friends if the Chinese aren't our friends and don't want to be our friends.